Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve. Welcome back, listeners, to the finest phototainment in the world. That's right, you're listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover. Dustin, my friend.
Steven.
How scared are you right now of the blood-sucking kissing bug that they found in Indiana?
Obviously not very scared because I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it? It's all over the news. It sucks your blood around your mouth. It gives you little bug kisses and just sucks the blood right out of you.
But if you drink enough alcohol, Steven, the bugs can't latch on.
Oh, is that it? Okay. So you want to talk about alcohol right now? Let's do some beer talk, buddy. What are you drinking tonight? What's going down the slippery slopes of Dustin McKibben?
This was a beer that was recommended to me by Rick at the liquor store.
Liquor Rick?
Liquor Rick. That's what we call him. He's lickery rickery. This is a Sweetwater Brewing Company 420 strain.
Oh,
IPA.
I'm sorry. What was that? 420 strain?
Yeah.
How much weed is in that beer?
Well, what's funny is as I opened it, I did get this weed-like aroma of marijuana. And I was like, whoa, my wife's going to come down here and wonder what's going on.
Did you think maybe it was Marijuana Pepsi?
Something.
I'm sorry, Dr. Marijuana Pepsi?
Dr. Marijuana Pepsi, is that a thing?
That is another thing that's going viral right now. There is a woman named Marijuana Pepsi Vandyck. That's right, she's apparently Dutch. And
apparently.
She got her doctorate today. She became a doctor. So she's now Dr. Marijuana Pepsi.
Did she choose that name?
No, that was her birth name on her birth certificate. People are going crazy about it. They love it.
Wow. Did they interview her parents?
I think they were too stoned to give an interview.
I think they like, I never thought in a million years our little marijuana would ever go on to become a doctor.
When I heard Dr. Marijuana Pepsi, I was like, wow, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi have come together to form a new drink that's marijuana infused, and it's going to be amazing, right? But no.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I assume people just call her Mary.
I assume so as well. Maybe Mary Jane.
Mary Pepsi. Mary Pep.
MP. MPV.
DMP. Doctor.
I haven't done a lot of research into this. I just saw it trending on Twitter, and I loved everything I saw. She might not be Dutch, but typically if a name starts with Van, a last name, that's a Dutch name.
Maybe they call her Vandy.
Yeah, maybe. Vandy. She's got that marijuana Pepsi candy.
Vandy with that marijuana Pepsi candy.
Good stuff. Dustin, tonight I'm foregoing beer because,
Are you?
I just took a trip out to California. I'm trying to get healthy now. I saw all the people out there eating their avocado toast, doing their intermittent fasting, wearing yoga pants everywhere. And I was like, I got to get healthy too. So I was like, I'm just going to avoid, drinking beer late at night from now on.
So you're just drinking, looks like iced tea?
Oh, yeah. I'm drinking an old fashioned. I figure, we gotta get back to our roots here in America, and there's nothing that grounds us more than a little bit of bourbon whiskey with some bitters, some sugar, and some ice. A good old fashioned drink. I call it a weight loss shake.
A weight loss shake.
Mm-hmm.
Some might call it a weight loss icy.
Yeah, no. I mean, whatever you need to call it to make yourself believe it's a good thing to drink at night.
That's right.
When you're trying to get back in shape.
As one would do.
Yeah. So, Dustin, we got a lot of follow-up.
Yep.
We got a lot of follow-up.
So much.
But the thing I'm most interested in hearing about in follow-up is, Dustin, a while ago, you talked at length about your SEO guy. Then you didn't talk about him for a very long time. Then you talked about him and made me blank it out of the podcast because you're mad, but you didn't want to make him mad in case he listened. And then you talked about him again to say he had gone out of business a little bit later. But there's new news on this SEO guy and on his new fronts.
I mean, I have not had this confirmed, but what the rumor mill is spitting out about Mr. Benjamin Turner, formerly of Turner Web Services, who specialized in search engine optimization for wedding photographers or just photographers in general, who many might have heard of. But he, I guess, told everybody he went out of business so that you wouldn't try to collect your money. Everybody got sent a email from a supposed attorney stating that he had filed bankruptcy in the state of Florida and to contact his attorney if you had any questions. And it all seemed super normal. Well, I found out from somebody who used to work for him that it was all smoke and mirrors, Stephen. There was no attorney. It was a bogus email that he sent out. He never really filed for bankruptcy.
Wait, he sent out like Benjamin Turner sent out, or the guy who worked for Benjamin Turner?
Benjamin Turner sent it out.
Nice.
Under like a fake law firm.
And he just hoped no one would ever Google that law firm.
I guess. I mean, I didn't.
Did this former employee find it out because he was like, wow, I didn't get my severance check when I got let go? And then he went to try to contact the law firm and it didn't exist. And he's like, wait, what's going on here? And then slowly realized that there was no bankruptcy that had been filed. He'd been let go for no reason.
Well, I think what he probably failed to realize is anyone that he had hired to work with him in search engine optimization is probably really good at finding things on the internet. And so, yeah, this guy tracked him down and found out that he's now doing search engine optimization for marijuana dispensaries.
My man.
Apparently, there's a need for that.
You mean you can't just put sells marijuana on the internet and then like people flock to you? I watched Dr. Marijuana Pepsi go viral today because somebody had the name marijuana.
Yeah. She's probably now named after a strain of, or a strain is named after her in Colorado.
Or California.
People are probably now going into their local dispensary and saying, I don't know what I saw on Twitter, but let's just say I want that Pepsi Vandyck strain, brother. Hook me up.
Oh, so you think it's Vandyck, not Vandyck? Vandyck?
Vandyck.
Okay. Dick Van Dyke, wasn't it Dyke? Dick Van Dyke?
Was it?
Dick Van Dyke?
He and I had a falling out. I don't really remember. But yeah, I want to dig in more into this SEO guy and see what we can uncover. Maybe turn this into like a monthly segment.
A monthly true crime segment.
Exactly. I think it could be a lot of fun. So if anybody wants to join in the fun and dig anything up you can find on the whereabouts or the happenings of Mr. Turner, let us know. Send us an email.
I'm super pumped for this new segment. I can't wait to see what your sleuthing brings up. And, can't wait to get that cease and desist letter from Benjamin Turner's fake attorney telling us to stop talking about him on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to that one.
I'm super looking forward to it because obviously he didn't listen to it when we threw him on the flames last time around. So.
You mean the time where I had to cut out his name every single time you mentioned him? Or the other time?
The other time where we actually did talk about him.
So we got more follow-up. This comes from listener and friend, Zane Naylor. Zane works for a company that does like event lighting, atmospherics, sound, audio, like a bunch of different stuff. They also do photo booths. Like Zane, the company works for is all over the place.
Do they do balloon
with
animals?
Event production? I don't think they do balloon animals. They're into things that make money.
Do they do face
not
painting?
Things you give away for free. No, not things you would find at a child's carnival. Maybe pinatas.
Just trying to really get the scope of Zane.
If the pinata is full of smoke, then yeah, probably.
So smoke pinatas is what Zane Naylor specializes.
Zane, I got a great idea for you. Take those Enola Gay smoke grenades that you're an authorized dealer of, stick them inside of a pinata, and just let a kid hit them. I guarantee there will be a fire, but it'll be worth
Harry Potter themed party. hit the pinata. Boom, Patronus.
Make the pinata sorting hat shaped. It'd be awesome.
Give them baseball bat shaped wands.
So anyway, Zane wanted to weigh in after our conversation about the really crappy dry ice machine that I saw. So Zane wanted to let us know there are different types of smoke haze effects you can create. So there's fog, which can be used as a general term for most stage and event atmospherics. Fog refers to like medium weight. And he says in this case, weight refers to the density and opaqueness of the cloud effect.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can do haze, which is very light, almost dusty look. I think he says that this is kind of like what atmosphere aerosol and other canned atmospheric products produce.
Right.
And then after that, there's a low-lying fog, which would be more like what the dry ice thing was supposed to be. And then there's cryo, which is what you see at like concerts and sport entrances, where like a thing of smoke goes like straight up in the air when like people walk out or whatever. And then there's also smoke, which is usually produced using a pyrotechnic device, heat usually in the form of a spark or a flame. And then there's also smoke grenades, aka smoke bombs, which Zane is an authorized dealer. He can sell you those from Enola Gay. So he just wanted to kind of give us a kind of full picture of everything that there is available to us as photographers in this space if we want to do something like this. And then Zane went on to post some lovely photos of the different things. If you're not in the Facebook group, go ahead, jump in there and just do a search for Zane Naylor. It's Zane, and his last name's Naylor. And he shared a bunch of pictures of the different effects that his company has created at different events that they've done. And the very first one is the dry ice pellets, which is the one I was complaining about, dropped into hot water, which create a dancing on the clouds effect. And this, it like looks amazing. It actually looks like, the couple's dancing in the middle of clouds, not like I saw where it looked like a slight mist on the ground that quickly dissipated into nothingness. So it's really cool.
Oh, Naylor the Sailor.
Sailor Naylor, yeah.
Sailor Naylor.
Yeah, definitely. So Zane has a bunch of pictures. He also has a video there. He works for a company called MBE Event Group, which is a company founded by a guy from Muncie, Indiana, who Jen and I knew back when we lived in Muncie. Cool company. Anyway, let's move on to our next order of business. Carl Osmond sent me a message today. Carl Osmond, Capture One, biggest supporter, biggest fan, sent me this message. I've committed a sin. I've gone back to Adobe. I feel like a dirty photographer that has cheated on Capture One. We have departed ways because she couldn't keep up with my workflow. She was slow and old. Lightroom flittered her eyes at me and I couldn't resist. Might have to take the professional off of my CV now.
Oh, he's slumming it with the rest of us now, Steven.
Yeah, I looked up to Carl. He was the only professional photographer I knew. And now he's just an amateur like the rest of us now that he's given up on Capture One. This is depressing. So depressing.
He traded in that old broad for a new updated model.
So over on the Raw podcast with Dave and I can't remember the other person's name. It's another photography podcast. They talk about weddings and stuff. And it's two guys from, I believe, Ireland. And one of them was trying out Capture One recently, specifically because they were trying to get, I think it was like Fuji cameras or Sony like there's different types of Capture One you can download. Some that'll work with like better with Fuji and some that work better with Sony, as opposed to just like the normal Capture One. And And so they were trying it out because one of them had made the switch to either Fuji or Sony, and they weren't liking the way Lightroom worked with the files. So they tried out Capture One to just kind of see what that was like. And after giving it a try, like in one podcast, they talked about it saying it was great. And then the next one, they were like, I don't know. I think I'm going to go back to Lightroom just because it's a lot of work learning like a whole new system, trying to migrate over and stuff. So if anybody is interested in more about Capture One, you could listen to the Raw podcast. Their two most recent episodes, they talk about that specifically and how it works with your workflow and how it might work better if you're using Fuji or Sony. All things I don't know about because I'm not a professional photographer and I don't use Capture One. I barely know how to use Lightroom. I could. Yeah, no, I use the Capture One of the video world, which is known as Final Cut Pro.
You have so many people at Bespoke Tone that use those programs for you so that you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, Bespoke Tone, the mega company with so many people who work for us. It's not just all Jen and me.
Exactly.
Mostly Jen.
Precisely.
Neither one of us knows how to use Capture One. So,
that's Dustin. All that matters. Steven.
Dustin. We got a lot of topics this week. I mean, first up, we got to talk. You're leaving me.
Technically, you already left me. If we're going to be clear here,
I came back.
You just came back from a wet and wild adventure with Ulysses Del Toro.
That is true, but I came back for you because I love you. But you're leaving me to go to Mexico, and I don't know if you're ever coming back.
So the question I have is Ulysses Del Toro going to meet me in Mexico? Will there be a Harry Potter world in Mexico?
You've met Ulysses Del Toro before. Did you go to Harry Potter world with him when you did that?
Ulysses Del Toro gave me so many things when I was with him that I barely remember that evening. It's like a mirage.
All right. Save it for the Patreon then, I guess, or whatever. You're going to Mexico, though, next week. Why are you going to Mexico?
We have a wedding in Mexico, Steve, because we are wedding photographers.
How does that work out?
That works out where a couple sees our work, Steven. They say, wow, those guys really know how to snap a shutter, look at a lens, pick it, put it on, click it. And they decide, if I could have anyone at my wedding that's hundreds and hundreds of miles away on a tropical ocean-like setting, Dustin is that guy. He is that person.
So you're not going as a second shooter?
No, it is Corinne and I.
Primary shooters?
So yes, I am second shooting for Corinne.
Oh, that's even better. Put all the stress of capturing everything perfectly on her. You just get to play around and have fun. That's what I do most of the time.
I wish. I did get to second shoot a few weeks back, and it was fun, but like super stressful for me to like not have that control of picking my angle and all that.
Yeah.
But I do want to give a big shout out and a big thanks, Abu, to, hold on here, looking up the name. I don't remember everybody's name like Steven. Brandon Russell, for reaching out to me with some suggestions on underwater housings for my camera setup for my trip.
Brandon's a good guy.
He was little too late because all the housings he recommended to me were completely sold out already. So I bought one. Wow. In typical Dustin fashion.
Brandon Russell was also too late. He's in Laguna Beach doing an engagement session today, and I was in Huntington Beach and Newport Beach doing an engagement session this weekend. Almost crossed paths with him. Almost, but like two ships.
Almost crossed swords.
Two ships in the night. We just went right by each other. You know how it is. Wait, what?
So how did your engagement session go?
My engagement session? It's mostly Jen's engagement session, but
I noticed from your Insta stories, you were pretty much just in a really fancy car.
Oh yeah, a Jaguar.
Jaguar. Did you like have to sip bourbon while you sat in the car?
No, you're not allowed to drink and drive in California, Dustin.
I didn't know if like, I didn't know when you hit a car that's like worth more than like $60,000, if like rules no longer apply to you.
I don't know. Was the car worth more than $60,000? I don't know much about the Jaguar. So it was a very nice car though, and I had to drive it for a very short period of time while Jen pulled the clients out of the car to do some shots, but there was no parking. So okay, maybe drive is the wrong word. I had to keep it in neutral and every once in a while move up a few feet as the line of cars in front of me moved up as parking spots opened at the place they were doing their shoot at. Never got far enough up to actually park. Ended up just pulling out of the line and driving away.
So just to be clear though, they didn't get married?
No, it was just an engagement session, bud.
Man, I'm sorry.
But I do have a story for you.
Oh, I love stories.
Yeah, but for this story, I think we're going to have to head over into the drone zone.
So without further ado, let's cross over into the drone zone.
Dustin, I know this is going to be hard for you to believe, but I brought the drone with me to California.
Really?
Yeah, and I flew it. And I know that's very difficult for you to believe as well. But
what does that look like? I don't even know what that looks like, Steven.
It looks like, just a guy with a video game controller in his hand playing, maybe some like Final Fantasy. No, not Final Fantasy. Playing maybe some Star Fox. Yeah, Star Fox. That's a good one. I'm going to stick with that. Star Fox. So I was out there Star Foxing on the beach. Jen had a specific idea in mind for a shot she wanted to get. And so we brought the drone with us and I flew it. And the shot Jen wanted to get was of the couple lying down on the beach while the waves rolled in. And because I'm just so adept and so skilled at, operating the drone, it only took like 50 minutes for, us to set the shot up. No, I'm joking. It didn't take that long. It took longer than I would have liked it to have taken. But so we get the shot set up and I convinced Jen that we should just shoot video of it. And we'll pull still frames out, I'll just expose it correctly, So I'm shooting video of the couple lying down on the beach, directly overhead, straight down, the kind of shot that I've made fun of Dustin for doing multiple times before on this podcast. And
yeah, but when you're on the beach in California, it all of a sudden makes sense.
It looks great. Yeah, no, it makes sense and it looks great. So the waves are washing up onto the beach and Jen positions our clients so that they are out of the range of the waves. And the whole time we've been there, the waves, there's like a line in the sand where it's like, oh, when the tide was up, a wave came all the way up to here. But we're watching the waves and it's like the waves only come about halfway up to there since we showed up. So the tide's going back out, I guess. I'm not certain. So she sets the clients up. They're lying down. You can probably see where this is going. We get everything set up to get the shot. And instead of getting this beautiful shot Jen wanted me to capture, which, we might still have from one of the still frames. But what I actually captured was a video of our clients lying down on the beach in the sand and having a wave wash over them.
Are you allowed to post that on the group?
I'm going to post it when the episode goes live.
Cool.
Hopefully by then Jen will have already posted the photo itself. So we'll be able to do a little compare and contrast sort of thing, between what Jen's photo looks like and what the actual video was like.
Nice. But so having been to California a few times now, do you just feel like it's not fair to be a California photographer?
Yeah, it's really not fair because every time I've been to California, regardless of the time of the year or how much it's raining, everything's just brown and dry and gross looking all the time. And there's no life. There's nothing beautiful there. When I came back, when our plane landed at O'Hare Airport, it was like we were in a sea of vibrant greens and beautifulness. And I finally realized why it is.
And by greens, you mean Shake Shack?
Yes, that as well. That their logo is green. That's correct. I finally realized why it is so many photographers in our area put those awful filters on that turn all their greens brown. And it's because they want their photos to look like they were taken in California, where it's just like shitty brown foliage everywhere all the time because everything's dried out and dying. And there's no life, there's no vibrancy there. Not like you can find here in the good Midwest that does not include Nebraska.
Oh yeah,
that's a Great Plains state. Nebraska. There's a lot of brown there, so you know how it is.
Did you and Ulysses debate that while you were there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay,
this is just something that popped into my head. But yeah, no. First thing we did, we landed Chicago O'Hare, and we were like, last thing Steve ate before leaving was some In-N-Out. Everybody says that's the best burger place in the world. We gotta know what's better, In-N-Out or Shake Shack. There's Shake Shack. Like 2 Shake Shacks in Chicago now. So we went straight over to a Shake Shack. Jen got a Shack burger. I got a Smokehouse Shack burger.
Did you get a milkshake?
Yeah, I got the chocolate. Jen got the tan and black.
Ooh.
And we also got cheese with the fries, which I was a little bit wary of because those fries.
Because you have to catch another flight.
Those fries, no. We drove from Chicago.
You drove from Chicago. So you're good.
Chicago's like 2 hours from Indy. So we're good. So, no, but you want to dip those fries straight into a milkshake, that chocolate milkshake or, actually the tan and black milkshake. That's even better. Or maybe it's white and black. I forget. But that one's actually better to dip the fries in than the chocolate, I would say. But the chocolate milkshake is better as a standalone thing on its own. But yeah, Shake Shack just dominated In-N-Out so hard.
They do a peanut butter one that's pretty dynamite.
Oh, they do a peanut butter one? I don't like peanut butter flavored stuff. Yeah, that's why I don't drink that Sweet Baby Jesus with you.
Next time, you will.
Maybe next time.
Everyone needs a sip of Sweet Baby Jesus.
Yeah. But if you are from California and you've never been to a Shake Shack before, I just want you to know In-N-Out sucks compared to it. But comparatively, In-N-Out's a lot better than most burger restaurants in the Midwest.
The concept of In-N-Out is really great. Like the simplicity and like the theming and the minimalism and all of that is really... As far as branding goes, it's really well done. I don't understand why it's so popular.
It's great. It's so much better than burger places around here. Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, all just get beat hands down. As far as fast food goes, it's just amazing compared to them.
But anytime I go to an In-N-Out, it's like insanely busy no matter what time of day it is.
Dude, that's crazy. When Jen and I were in San Francisco, every In-N-Out we passed on the road was insanely busy no matter what time of day.
Yeah, I just don't get it.
But there weren't a ton of In-N-Outs in the San Francisco area.
It's like if you go to Culver's here.
When we were in the LA area, it was like In-N-Out was at every single exit off every single highway. And
like the Chick-fil-A of the Midwest.
When we went to In-N-Out, it was like there were 2 people in there and that was it.
Sounds about right.
So it was a much better experience in LA. Plus the fries taste a lot better than they did in San Francisco. Sorry, San Francisco, your fries sucked.
Probably use a healthier oil.
Yeah, probably.
Avocado oil.
Weak ass shit. You know what I'm saying.
Do we?
Huey? Louie? The Ducks?
Oh, what else? What else is on tap tonight, Steve? We talked about you going to Cali. What? I'm leaving for Mexico in 48 hours.
Yeah, no. Dustin, there's some big news on the Adobe front. Did you read about this? So everybody knows that Apple has been trying to push the Mac App Store down our throats ever since the iPhone App Store, the iOS App Store, became like a smash hit success. And the Mac App Store has been a huge flaming turd. Mm-hmm. But recently, and by recently I mean like this week, they convinced Adobe to start selling Lightroom through the Mac App Store. And here's the thing. It costs the same amount per month to get Lightroom through the Mac App Store as it costs to get it through the Creative Cloud thing. It's $9.99 a month. And for a year, it's actually cheaper because you can pay per month or you can pay like annually. Mm-hmm. And to buy for a full year annually, it's $1 cheaper on the Mac App Store than it is from Adobe's Creative Cloud thing.
Whoa. So the old Mac App Store deep throat technique is working.
You can also, you can also download Lightroom through the Mac App Store and then just sign in with your Creative Cloud account. So then you can have like a Mac App Store approved app on your computer without having to have like the crazy Adobe installer Creative Cloud thing, like always up in the right-hand corner of your screen. Which I mean is huge because I hate all those freaking icons, and I hate the Creative Cloud one especially because it's always got like a red dot on it, some notification, and you click on it and it's like, we've got news stories for you, and it's like, I don't care about your news stories. If there's a red dot, it should have an update. That is the only reason why I ever want to see some sort of notification with Creative Cloud. But Lightroom might be in the Mac App Store, but Photoshop is not yet. So still got time.
Are you not downloading
Still got time to kill. We still got to wait. I already have Lightroom on my computer through Creative Cloud. I'm not going to download that and then try to manage Lightroom through the Mac App Store and Photoshop through Creative Cloud. Like, I don't have the full CC suite. I just have the photographer's thing, so I only have Lightroom and Photoshop, and that's it. But if Photoshop became available, I would delete Creative Cloud from my computer and just do Mac App Store downloads all day, every day. Mac App Store makes things so much easier. If you're out there and you use Lightroom and you don't use Photoshop or any other Adobe like Creative Cloud apps, I would highly recommend downloading through the Mac App Store if you're on Apple.
I agree. But I can wholeheartedly say I don't think I've ever bought an app off the Mac App Store.
I've bought several, but I mean, I use Final Cut, Compressor, and Motion. So, you know how we do.
I don't know how we do.
Yeah, I should get Lightroom too. You think? Or not Lightroom, Logic. I should get Logic too. You think? That's an audio editing.
I don't know.
So I could start editing our podcast like a real professional, like a real Carl Osmond. I could put professional on my CV for audio editor.
I just keep editing it in Lightroom like we do everything else.
Edit the podcast in Lightroom. That's nice. Dustin, did you hear about the royal wedding photographer and how he has made news once again? And this time, not because people think his photos are so bad like every other time.
Yeah, I did hear about it. Alex, that's the name of the photographer, and I were talking, and he was saying that he wished that he could get back in the news cycle since, his sort of moment of fame had passed with the royal wedding. Mm-hmm. And since he legally couldn't post any of the photos, there was really nothing he could do. So he and I kind of schemed a way to wink, wink, pretend he got hacked and get some of these photos out for you guys to take a peek at. So, Alex, you're welcome.
So that's what you want to say? What do you mean? That's the line you want to take on this is Alexi, not Alex.
Friends call him Alex.
Okay. Alexi did this on purpose.
Yeah. We all know you can't hack Adobe Cloud. Or can you? I mean, I don't know. Where do people in London store their photos?
I don't know. It's all news to me.
The London cloud, the London fog.
So if you want to get down on that, you can look it up online. It's everywhere because I mean it's Meghan Markle. Everybody loves Meghan Markle and that prince she married, whoever he is.
He's the hairy one.
Yeah, no, too hairy that they wouldn't even let him guest star in Suits for an episode. But whatever.
Oh, he wanted to guest star in Suits?
No, I'm joking. He's a part of the royal family. He's not allowed to act. Part of her like marrying him was agreeing that she wouldn't act anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
It seems kind of beneath her.
Would you rather be a princess for the rest of your life or be an actress for the rest of your life? You tell me. Would you rather be a royal or would you rather be an artist?
Art's in my blood, Steve. I'd figure out a way to do both.
I would give up photography and podcasting in a heartbeat if I could be in a part of the royal family. It doesn't even have to be a good part. Just like a governor or a governess, maybe Jen gets it, not me, whatever. But, I would give this all up in a heartbeat.
You're the official dog walker, Stephen. You're our pet bather. This is Snoofy.
Snoofy?
Snoofy.
Is that a British name?
You'll be feeding him tea and crumpets every day at 3, then he'll have a bath and a nap. That is your job here in the royal family. Do you mind if we call you Stefan?
I would prefer it, actually. I would definitely prefer that.
But yeah, I think that is a bit of a story. Royal wedding photos out. Who cares?
I mean, a lot of people care. I mean, that's why they targeted the photographer and hacked them, because they knew a lot of people would care. It's kind of a big deal because they're very private and they don't want these to get out. Okay, I mean, whatever, dude. If you don't care about the royal family, you don't care about the royal family. If you don't care about an Canadian, what is she? She's Canadian, isn't she? Yeah, who cares? She's Canadian.
I just want to say that ever since we lost Meghan Markle and the guy who played Mike, Suits has really gone downhill. So if we can launch a master plan to break up the wedding or the marriage and get Mike and Rachel back on Suits, I'm just saying, ratings would go through the roof.
Former Princess Meghan Markle back on Suits.
Oh.
She gave up a life of luxury to slum it with all the actors here on Suits.
On Prime USA Network.
Characters welcome. Characters welcome, Dustin. They welcome those characters.
Apparently not princesses.
Apparently not princesses.
All those small young women, those small young girls dreaming of becoming the next Frozen Elsa or Moana, those characters are not welcome on USA.
Dustin, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about here in our topic list, or did you want to go straight into Q&A?
I don't know. Did you want to talk about any of these overrated lenses from f-stoppers?
Yeah, no, I would love to talk about that. Dustin, what do you think is the most overrated lens, if you had to say right now?
I would say the most overrated lens, if I had to say right now, if I'm being 100% honest with you, Steven, for photography, is the 70 to 200 millimeter. It hurts me a little bit to say that, because that was my first love. That was my go-to. That was my workhorse, Steven Van Elk. But as I've matured as a photographer, as I've not let the creamy bokeh of that lens hold me back.
Hold you back? Hold you back? Explain yourself.
I mean, it's just, I let that factor of that lens define my photography style. And now I try to let my couples and the emotion and the posing and the environment all play a factor in it, not be so much about that lens.
So what do you use
there's not a time and a place
of the time
for
now? No. What do you use most of the time now?
I switch back and forth between a 50 and an 85. I would say 30%, 50, 70%, 85.
Interesting.
I mean, as far as portraits go, as far as like the rest of the day, I'm on a 24 to 70.
Wow. So you just never whip out the 70 to 200 anymore?
Just for those long Catholic churches where I need that reach, because they tell me I have to be in the back of the church.
Sounds like it's a lifesaver then still.
In that environment, yes. But could you get away with an 85 and crop in a little? I think so.
No, you couldn't.
What about you, Steve? What is the most overrated lens for you? I mean, I would
85.
say, if we're being honest, oh my God.
85. Everybody talks about the 85 like it's the best lens ever for portraits.
No, everybody talks about the 50. everyone's like, the 50, it's the perfect focal length. It's a
everybody's
portrait. It's
like,
so wide.
oh, have you been on that 50? You should get on that 85. You're gonna love it. You're gonna make all the creamy bokehs. Your depth of field is
it's
so
like
tack
the 50,
sharp.
but you took 2 steps closer.
Yeah, that's why people love it so much. And
it's like, we removed all that weird distortion.
When I hear people talk about shooting portraits with the 85, all I can ever think is you have to be 2 steps further away from your subject than you would be if you had the 50. And I feel like you lose so much. And then you have to talk louder. You're almost yelling at them. Hey, do this. Kiss, kiss. It's like shooting with a 70 to 200 during portraits. Ugh.
But it's not.
No, it's the worst. It's like shooting with a 70 to 200 during portraits. Everyone knows you're that loud photographer who's barking commands at your couple. You got that 50. You're in there so nice and close. You're comfortable. You don't get the distortion you get with a 35. You're real nice up close. Everybody's all snuggly and cuddly and lovey. You can talk in a soft voice just like this. You get in there with a 35 and even a soft voice like this is too loud. And also you get that distortion, you know.
I shot my last wedding almost entirely with a 50.
Okay, so you're on the same team as me. Do you want to know what?
Because I thought I forgot the 85 at home.
Okay, so do you want to know what Robert K. Baggs, the bag man for f-stoppers, said was the most overrated
The old
lens?
f-stoppers bags, man.
He said the 50 millimeter f 1.8.
Boom! There you go,
The
Steve.
nifty
Good
50.
thing I have the 1.4.
Yeah, Jen and I shoot with 1.4s and a 1.2. So I get what he's saying, though. Everybody says when you first get a camera and you're looking for like your first lens, your first prime lens, they say get that 50 millimeter f 1.8. It's it's a life changer. It's gonna be so great for you. And then you upgrade to like a 1.4 or a 1.2 once you've made a little bit more money and you can afford it. And there's a huge difference. Like the 50 millimeter f 1.8, it's just they don't look nearly as good as like a 1.4 or a 1.2.
It's true. This is all true.
Yeah, I mean the bokeh doesn't look as good. They don't get that depth of field that you want. So I mean I don't disagree with Robert as long as he's like constraining it to just that 50 millimeter f 1.8. Like the 1.4s and the 1.2s that are out there are typically amazing. Canon 1.2 is amazing. Sigma 1.4 is amazing. Canon 1.4 is good. It's good. It's not as good as the Sigma 1.4, I'd say. How do you feel about the 50 millimeters?
I've only ever owned one 50 millimeter. I've shot with Nikon's 51.8. I've shot with the Sigma. And I've only ever owned the Nikon 51.4, the older version.
Okay.
Which in my mind is the more superior lens as far as travel goes. It's a very small lens. It's the only lens I use during the prep portion of the day, the getting ready. I like to kind of come in sort of unintrusive.
So you said you shoot a lot on the 85? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah.
All my portraits, 85. Yep. Corinne shoots 24 to 70. I shoot
on that 85. Is it a 85 1.4 or 1.2?
85 1.8.
1.8? What the What are you doing?
It's like $1,000 difference between the two lenses.
Oh
I rented them both.
Oh my gosh.
Shot with them both, and I could literally not tell the difference.
I see people shoot stuff with the 85 1.4 and the 85 1.2 from Canon, and both look great. The 1.2 looks so much better though. But the 1.2 from Canon, for like the DSLRs, not the new mirrorless stuff, it's very slow to focus. But once you do focus, it's beautiful. You don't get an image like it anywhere else. You do have to yell really loud. You're fighting, there's a lot of empty space, a lot of wind. Sometimes if it's real windy, there's like leaves and debris blowing in your way while you're trying to photograph. You just have to yell through. But But, with a 50, you don't have to yell through it. You're just getting hit by it. So advantages, disadvantages, whatever you want to say. But a 1.8, an 85 1.8, where the hell did you even find this?
Nikon sells a 1.8.
When did they sell the 1.8?
Did
you travel back in time to buy it? I just can't believe in a world of 1.2s and 1.4s that there's still 1.8s out there.
Nikon doesn't do any 1.2s. They only do 1.4 and 1.8.
Why are you still... Move to Sony already. Just move to Sony.
I know. My studio manager was giving me grief yesterday.
Your studio manager, Dustin McKibben?
No, Lily. She shoots Sony.
Your intern.
And except she's not an intern anymore. We hired her.
Oh, very nice. Moving on up.
Shoots Sony, and she shot a wedding for us a couple weeks ago, and
she was calling it. She's like, "Are you surprised that everything was in focus all the time?"
No, she
unlike
was
when you're shooting with your Nikon 85mm f1.8.
She was just commenting on just like how good the color was, and that she didn't have to do any tweaking of the color because it just was like freaking spot on out of camera, and I was like, yes, I know. I need to switch to Sony. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, that only works because Nikon's colors are shit. If you'd been shooting with Canon, she would have been like, ugh, this Sony, it's terrible. Terrible out of camera.
Well, actually, coincidentally, the person she was shooting with was shooting on Canon, and we had to do a lot of work
with a 50mm f1.8.
No, she was shooting a lot with the Canon 70-200.
That's a beautiful lens. What camera body was this person using?
5D Mark III.
I don't believe any of this. This is all.
It's all
this
true.
Is all big Sony influencing this podcast. How much did Big Sony pay your studio manager? And yes, for the people listening, I did air quotes.
They haven't currently paid us anything, but if they're listening, we would like a check.
We've been doing this for a while now, expecting a check. It has not come.
Or just equipment. Just equipment. The whole reason I have not switched to Sony yet is because I'm still waiting on that sweet, sweet gear gift pack.
What does Lily have? What is she even shooting on?
That box of A7 IIIs. She has an A7 III 50 and a 35mm.
Okay.
And then
does
she
the A7 III solve the
lenses.
problem where when it's low light, everything in the shadows is like magenta and gross looking?
Yeah.
It does? Okay. I mean, if they made that correction, then the Sony color would look a lot better. All the Sonys I've shot on, though, have like when things get darker, it's like all your shadows in low light just look like magenta and purple, and it's gross.
Yeah, I noticed that on our A7S II. But in hers, it seems like that problem has been corrected, and the quality of the noise when she does go higher in ISO. It's just a higher like the noise is just more pleasant. It's not as nasty as like the Nikon's noise.
Yeah. I've heard people prefer Nikon's noise though to Canon's noise. So.
Oh, Canon's noise is the worst. It's a very noisy look with a side of ugh.
Yeah. It's like when you're trying to put your kid to sleep at 10 o'clock at night because he won't go to sleep at his normal bedtime at 9 because Indiana was like, hey, let's do daylight savings time like crazy people. So now the sun doesn't set till 10, so your kid won't go to sleep till 10. And some jackass down the street is just sitting out in their fucking car pumping some ridiculous EDM shit that's just bass heavy as and your kid won't go to sleep because he's jamming to the music in his bed. I'm sorry, that's why we're recording late tonight, Dustin.
Sounds like it's time for you guys to move to Fort Wayne where all the farmers are in bed by now here, my friend.
No, Jen and I used to live in a house surrounded by fields out in the middle of the country in Muncie. And I can tell you one thing. farmers farm now in the middle of the night. They have headlights on those tractors, and they will be out until like midnight, and then they'll get back up at like 5 a.m. because their work ethic is amazing, and they apparently never sleep, and they're just like out there all day long, plowing fields.
Can we find farmers to edit wedding photos?
When are they going to do that? They're way too busy with everything else. What you need is that farmer work ethic.
So you need to corrupt a farmer's son or daughter.
Yeah. You start out, just be like, this is something you can do in the winter when you don't have as much work.
And when I have no work.
Well, you just save up your edits, you tell your clients it's going to be 5 to 6 months. This is a long-term thing, Dustin. You're trying to get the farmers to stop farming. You need work for them.
We don't deliver till February. You just got to start running those winter wedding specials.
Yeah, you know how it is. Dustin, let's do some Q&A.
Q&A me, Stevie.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve...
Rob Betts from our very own Facebook group asks, what are your policies on clients taking an original photo and posting it with a shitty yellow Instagram filter on it? Shit pisses me off. Our contract forbids any editing other than cropping prints if desired, but doesn't specifically say anything about filters. So, if you look up Rob Betts in the Facebook group, you can see the photos in question. There's one where the white balance looks normal. There's one which looks yellow and green, yellowish green. It's gross.
So, I mean, like, this is like a constant... We've talked about this before on the podcast. I mean, this is just going to be something you are going to deal with. And it's not like people are being malicious, or maybe they are, in trying to deface or defame you by making your photos look bad. They just have a different opinion on what looks good to them versus what you think. And so when they put that filter on, it looks good. And you're like, ugh, they just splashed toilet water on my photo.
Piss.
But at the end of the day, it's a service industry. We're not really artists. We just pretend to be. And we are serving a client and providing them with an end product. And what they do with that end product is... The only thing that would make me a little mad is the fact that they cropped your logo in the photo and posted a
now
photo.
We're getting
at least
somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Come on, Dustin.
At least they posted the photo with the logo, but then they cropped half of it out. I've had that happen when people make my photos their profile picture on Facebook, but then they like crop half my logo out, so they think just Corinne works for me. Just Corinne wedding photography.
And Corinne.
That Dustin guy.
I need to know who ampersand Corinne is. I have to know.
How do we find her?
All I see is Dustin ampersand Corinne in the Fort Wayne area. I'm completely lost.
So, I mean, you should be thankful, though, Rob, because Heather's the one that got cut out of this photo.
Yeah, this is just ampersand Rob.
I hope you took it, or else Heather might be mad.
It kind of looks like, because it's all cursive, it kind of looks like other and Rob.
It does kind of look like other and Rob. That you should start like a little secondary studio name, Rob. Other and Rob.
Yeah, just force your wife right out of the business.
Just buy the domain just in case.
Rob, I gotta say, I don't know why we're fighting this anymore. We're all just, we got one foot in the grave already. Why do we even care anymore? Maybe in the future, just slap a shitty Instagram filter all over your photos and then send it to the bride and groom. It's what they want anyway. Maybe while you're at it, just in front of them at the wedding, just set your Distler down, your DSLR, and
your Distler.
Take a piss on that Distler, right in front of them, and just be like, look, you're gonna do this with the Instagram filters anyway. Might as well just cut out the middleman. Now you don't need Instagram. You got my piss on the lens, and we got a yellow photo.
Insta dick.
Wait, what?
The old Insta-dick approach.
Oh, yeah. The
where
old
you instantly
Insta-aubergine.
become a dick on the wedding day.
You just wait till the wedding day, and then you're like, all this.
It's been fun, guys, but you're about to get Insta-dicked.
You're going to get some real great photos. They're going to be Insta-dicked.
I wish you had told me which filter you liked ahead of time, because now I'm just going to pick.
Guess what? It's coming up piss every time.
It's coming up piss.
I
mean, I'm sure you guys have had this happen, right?
Never.
Well, you guys already filter the shit out of your photos, so there's no need for...
All of our photos are straight out of camera. We don't edit anything. It's straight out of camera, raw. We don't even give JPEGs to our clients anymore. We just give them raw photos. We want them to have that raw experience. And when we get questions from them that are like, hey, what do I do with these CR2 files? We say, I don't know. Figure it out. You didn't pay us for that. You want Rob, JPGs? You want .jpgs? Yeah. Well, send me another $1,000 and I'll convert those .cr2s to .jpgs. And if we have, a second shooter working for us, it might be .nefs or, whatever. .dngs. Who knows?
Some Sony file.
I don't know what Sony files are.
Like AWR or something. Something with an A.
R.
I don't know why they couldn't just make it .sony or something. SNY.
Why couldn't they just make it .cr2? Why couldn't Nikon and Sony just make it .cr2? Let's make it easy. For me.
for you. I mean, Rob, really, honestly, at the end of the day, what will make your life better? What will make you sleep better? Stop following your clients on Instagram.
Look, Rob, don't be friends with your clients. You don't want to have a friendship with them. They've entered into a monetary contract with you. There's a very strict thing going on there. It's they give you money, you perform service for them, you no longer have contact with them. They're actually, when you get paid as a wedding photographer, you think you're getting paid to take the photos and then deliver the photos. What you're actually getting paid for is to never contact them again after you deliver the photos. They don't want to know that you're doing a sale on prints. They don't want to know that you're doing a sale on newborn shoots. They don't want to know that, hey, you got some family photo mini sessions coming up. They're paying you to stay out of their lives for the rest of their lives.
Yes. Yes to all of that.
We've never been in agreement about anything before. This is amazing. Should we end the podcast? Well, it was great, folks. Shut it down. Do you want to do another question? I feel like we helped Rob out a ton there. Josh Withers from our very own Facebook group says, how do you reply to an inquiry for 5 years and 7 months away? So Josh got this inquiry. Hey there, Josh. So my partner and I have been talking about getting married. It's kind of funny as we're not yet actually engaged. However, we have set a date for our wedding. It's still a little while off, but it just gives us time to be able to save up and get everything organized. There's a lot more to it, but I'm going to cut it there. It's 5 years away, this wedding. And Josh officiated one of the people's cousins' weddings. And this person was the cousin's maid of honor. It was a Star Wars themed wedding.
So are they asking Josh to officiate it or photograph it?
Josh is an officiant. They're asking him to officiate it. That is correct.
Okay. So just say you need paid in full up front. And you'll do it. Done.
Now, Josh, you did state that the person who said that they were the maid of honor in their cousin's wedding, and you would probably remember it because it was a Star Wars themed wedding. I think maybe it's time to ask this person, like, look, 5 years is a long time away. If I'm going to put you on the books for 5 years from now, I need to know, what are you planning to do to top your cousin's Star Wars themed wedding? Is this going to be a Doctor Who themed wedding? Is it going to be a Marvel themed wedding? I got to
X-Men.
know.
X-Men.
Is it going to be an X-Men? X-Men's part of Marvel now.
Can I dress
back?
like...
X-Men is back in the Marvel fold. Did you not know this? Did you not know this? X-Men
Disney bought DC?
Oh my gosh. You're an idiot. X-Men is Marvel. Apparently. It's always been Marvel. Fox got the rights to X-Men for movies. Disney bought Fox. X-Men back in the Marvel Universe fold, if they want it to be. After Dark Phoenix, I don't know if they want it to be, but, you know.
I guess. Oh, yeah, because Deadpool was part of Marvel. Okay, yep. It's all coming back.
Deadpool's also owned by Fox. That is correct. Or was owned by Fox. Now it's all owned by Disney.
Disney owns the world.
Yeah. So that's why like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in the Marvel movies couldn't be called mutants. And that's why in X-Men there was a Quicksilver, and in Avengers there was also a Quicksilver. It was the same character. It's just in the Marvel movies they had to say he wasn't a mutant. He was something else. And in the X-Men movies he was a mutant. So that was like the whole division there between what Marvel could use and what Fox could use, was if something is classified as a mutant, you can't use it, Marvel. Fox is going
Sony
to use it.
used to own all of the Spider-Man.
Sony still owns Spider-Man.
Oh.
Yeah. Sony's smart, and they've cut a deal with Marvel where they do like, hey, we'll put Spider-Man in your movies. You put, Nick Fury and Iron Man in our movies. And, that'd be good for both of us going forward. But Spider-Man's also a Marvel character. That is correct.
Learn a little bit something every day.
Yeah. That's why we answer these questions from wedding celebrant Josh Withers. So we can talk about Marvel.
I hope that helped, Josh. Next question.
5 years away. Have you ever booked someone for 5 years away? Let's talk for reals.
I think 2.5 years, I think, is the furthest out I've booked someone. We just booked a bride for next May. So not this coming May, but the May after, May 2021. And that, I think, is pretty far out. We booked one 2 years ago for this coming fall. And it panned out.
Nice. I love it when they pan out. But you know what I love more? When they pay in full and then they cancel.
They book so far in advance that I forgot about it.
Wait, they booked so far in advance you forgot about it, and then you booked another wedding on the same day?
Well, no, I didn't book another wedding, but I forgot about it. And then when somebody inquired as it got closer, and I was like, oh, I don't think we booked anything for that month yet. And I looked at my calendar, I'm like, who the hell is this? Like,
did you push them off on your associate, or what'd you do?
I don't remember. I just remember.
Did you book both weddings? Did you book both weddings? No. Let's go back. Did you book both weddings?
Steve, are you free? Are you free to shoot a wedding?
I've done this for you before when you booked 2 weddings on the same day.
Yes. I'm all about triple booking.
No, I mean, you got to get it done. Hey, that's more money in your pocket,
That's right. That is right. So what's the longest, furthest out? I mean, I know some photographers in my area that do sort of like they won't take weddings that are over a year out. Like they have like sort of, because they don't know what their life is going to be. They don't know if they're still going to be in the same area. They're very transient. They could see a cool concert ticket come up for sale and they're like, that wedding.
Oh, forget that wedding. I'm going to go see Vampire Weekend.
Right?
Yeah, that's what I did the other weekend,
Exactly.
Joking, I didn't do that.
Just blew off a wedding to go see a concert.
Yeah. I don't even know what that bride did for a photographer. I didn't tell her in advance or anything. No. I think the furthest out Jen and I booked has been like 2 years or 2.5 years. And we currently have a client, and Jen's probably going to kill me for getting this wrong, because I'm sure I'm getting it wrong in some way, shape, or form. But I'm pretty certain we have a client right now who booked us like 2 years in advance and then has pushed their wedding back several times. And then what Jen's done is when they contacted her to see if they could push the wedding back, I believe what she said was something along the lines of like, hey, that's fine if you want to push the wedding back, but like I lost like other bookings on that date, so you're going to lose your deposit, and if you want to push your wedding back, you have to pay a new deposit. And they've agreed to do that. So, we ended up still making money from them, but we might have lost some money from not booking somebody else on their date or something like that. But as far as booking somebody 5 years in advance, I would say that's one of those things that's real crazy. And I might just, respond to them and just be like, hey, I'm super excited for your wedding. And, I'm going to pencil it in, but let's, wait. And I don't take bookings more than 2 years, 1 year in advance, whatever it is. And I know part of the reason why somebody might be trying to book you 5 years in advance is they're afraid you'll raise your prices and they won't be able to afford you or something like that. And I would say if somebody's trying to book you 5 years in advance so that they can save up money.
I doubt most people think about that.
This person said that they were trying to save up so that they could get everything they wanted in their wedding and get everything organized.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at that point you just say like, you can't maybe afford me. if it's going to take you 5 years, like I love you and I want you to have the wedding you want, but maybe just get married. Maybe just get married, and don't wait 5 years. Because I feel like I'm turning money away there, but I'm also feeling like maybe I'm making a lifelong friend, and that person's not paying me to never talk to them again. So that person, would maybe become a lifelong friend because I turned them away from my business, and I told them to just get married right now. Don't let anything hold you back another second from your loved one. Keep pushing things forward. Always be moving on to the next thing, bigger, better all the time. 5 years from now, you might not love this person anymore. You might have, split up. If you just get married now, then you can have a divorce and that'll be much harder to split up.
And if the other person makes more money than you, it can be much more profitable for you in the long run.
Yeah, when you divorce. Yeah, no. Yeah, because if you're just dating and you split up, like you don't get anything. But if you're married and you split up, like you might get a lot.
Halfsies.
Yeah, I'm glad your mind is in the right place on this, Dustin. So Josh, maybe just say, hey, I would love to meet with you for like half the price of what you'd pay me in 5 years. I will officiate a wedding for you tomorrow. I'm free tomorrow. Let's get this done. Let's knock this out of the park. Bird in hand is better than two in the bush. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
and 5 years from now, that's birds in the bush. You don't know
that's the way to do
happen.
it, man.
Unless you can take all that money up front and just tell them like, hey, yeah, you can book me for 5 years from now. It'll cost 5 times whatever I'm charging this year. Just so you know, that's what it costs to book me this far in advance. 5x whatever I'm charging this year. Up front, non-refundable.
That's what I did. I think we booked a wedding 3 years in advance when we were first starting out. And at that time, I think we charged like $3,400 for that wedding. And I was like over the moon. And they ended up calling off the wedding.
Ouch.
Yeah.
You got all that money though, still?
No, I didn't get paid up front. That's where I made that mistake. Super far in advance weddings, man. You got to get paid up front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I've had the reverse happen where I thought the wedding was that calendar year and the wedding was the following calendar year. I misread the year when they booked. And so I called them like a month up and I'm like, hey guys, let's go ahead and start. I know I'm a little behind on the 8 ball here, but let's get your wedding timeline, punched out here. Want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do it, Dustin. Yeah. And then, I'm asking them questions like, oh, we haven't quite figured this out yet. Or, we're not sure if we're going to do a limo. Or like, guys, this wedding is really coming up here. I mean, how do you not know some of these details? And they're like, Dustin, our wedding is still like a year out. Is this like normal? I'm like, are you guys punking me right now? Like, what do you mean? It's a year out. And they're like, yeah, we're not getting married until next September.
You thought you booked us for a Saturday wedding. It's actually a Monday wedding, and it's Labor Day. The Super Bowl of weddings.
No, I thought it was a Friday wedding of that year, and it turned out it was the next year's Saturday. Thankfully, I wasn't already booked for it. But I did lose out on that weekend from that year, which really sucked.
Man, that does suck.
Yeah.
Find you a good CRM and hook in. Are we sponsored by any CRMs yet?
By all of them. That's the problem. We can't talk about any of them because we're sponsored by all of them.
Yeah. Jen and I use Pixify to manage all of our client relation stuff, and Jen could tell you a lot about that because she's the one who does almost all the work in Pixify, and I do hardly any. What do you use? Do you use Honeybook?
And we use Honeybook.
Quick, send Honeybook a message. Tell them we want to sign up for their educator thing. We'll put a code in.
We need to.
Sorry, guys. That's an inside joke between me and Dustin. Honeybook told us a long time ago they'd love to have us be like educator, sponsor sort of people. And we've never followed up on that because we didn't believe in the product as much as other people do, I think. But I've never used the product, so it's all on Dustin. He doesn't believe in the product.
I just don't use it to the fullest because I haven't had the time.
Well, you also use another CRM. You only use Honeybook for your video production, right?
No, I use Honeybook for photo, and I use agree.com for video.
Oh, okay.
Why do I use two separate services?
Yeah, it doesn't even buy into it enough to use it for both video and photo.
Well, I bought into agree.com back when it was in beta, and they had sort of this like $99 lifetime, legacy membership type thing where you don't ever go up in price. And I thought, because the original concept of agree.com was simply contracts. And I, at the time, didn't have a great contract. And so I used it.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast with Dustin and Steve. Sorry, it sounded like you were rambling there. Were you going to finish that one?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Were you going to finish that?
Done.
You had some thoughts about Agree. Okay. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast with Dustin and Stefan. If you want to help us out, jump on iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star review. Only the finest for the finest in phototainment with me and Dustin. If you want to connect, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Wedding Photo Hangover or on Twitter at WedPic Hangover. Dustin is on Instagram at Dustin_McKibben. And Stefan is at Stephen Van Elk. Stefan Van Elk. Stephen Van Elk.
Stefan Van Elk Instagram account. I feel like Steven's
find
alter
all
ego
the Stephen
account.
Van Elk news at Stefan Van Elk. If you want to get involved with the awesome community of listeners, join the Wedding Hangover Facebook group. But if you really want to warm our hearts, head on over to SteveandDustinSaveTheWorld.com and you can sign up to support us for as little as $1 a month. But if you want to get that good content like new Patreon supporter Josh Withers is getting, then you can sign up at $5 a month. $5 a month will get you our weekly podcast called Steve and Dustin Save the World, where we answer random questions from Facebook. Why? Because that's everybody's favorite part of this podcast. So we're just doing more of it. We're doing more of it on,
Everybody
our
wants
Patreon.
more.
Dustin and I also, we talk about more serious things on there, things that maybe we feel like we can't share on the main podcast because, they're just way too political. We're just getting No, I'm joking. We don't get very political over there. But no.
Or do we?
We would love to have you guys over there signing up to hear all the extra bonus content we're putting out, just like Josh Withers. Josh Withers of the Rebel's Guide to Getting Married. It's a YouTube channel /podcast that he does that's really awesome. So thank you so much to Josh Withers, and thanks to everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right, next Sunday after you shoot another wedding. Or officiate another wedding, like Josh Withers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That is true.
You packed for Mexico yet? Were you going to go somewhere with your Honeybook Agree thing, or...
No.
Just wanted to tell everybody the history of Agree.com. Agree.com was founded in 1985. It was before most companies had websites.
Well, it's an offspring of Shootproof, I believe. Or not Shootproof, Show It.
Shotproof?
Shotproof?
Shotprof?
No, Show It. It's one of the brainchild of Show It Tears.
I want to pitch you my idea. You've heard of shootproof.com, but have you heard of Shotprof? Shotprof is my educational website for photographers, which in no way is just trading off the fact that it sounds kind of like Shootproof, and people might accidentally put Shotprof into their web browser.
So it's not a website you go to see pictures of your professors they get shot?
Pictures of your professors taking shots. Yes, that's exactly what it's going to be. Go to shotprof.com right now. I hope that's not something terrible.
It's like a Rate My Professor, but for blackmail?
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it's a blackmail website for students to blackmail their professors so they can get better grades. Dustin, what have you been what have you been doing recently? What have you been listening to? What you been watching?
I've been cramming a shit ton again amount of work in preparation for our trip to Mexico, because as I always seem to forget, and correct me if I'm wrong.
They speak Spanish down there. That's correct.
Yes, as a freelance entrepreneur, self-employed type person, when you leave, all forms of income stop coming in.
Yeah, that's also correct.
You can't work if you're not here. So
no, that's incorrect. There's this thing called the internet. You can work from wherever you are.
If you have a mobile job, but a lot of what I've been doing recently is
the realty stuff.
Pictures. Yeah. And that can't be done from Mexico, Steve.
Do you want to hire me to come to Fort Wayne next week and do your realty stuff for you? I've got a drone. I know how to use it. I used it in California.
You can't shoot real estate with a 50. I'm sorry, Steve.
I've got a 35. Can you do a 35?
Nope.
I got a 17 to 35.
17 would work.
Yeah, I got a 17.
For what I get paid for the real estate would not even cover your gas to get from Indy.
You just gotta line up like 8 jobs in one day. Come on.
If it happens, I've been kind of waiting to see if I get that many for next week to see if it warranted lining someone up. But I've been able to, I literally shot like 20 houses today, and I'm shooting a bunch tomorrow in order to not have to do any next week.
Nice. Way to plan ahead. Proud of you, buddy. Why don't you get your studio manager to do it for you?
It was a thought. I told her she might have to if things like went crazy in these last 2 weeks. But so far it's been pretty just consistent. It hasn't been like this steady upswing.
Yeah.
Where every week it gets a little more and more. It's kind of hit a plateau of just like 10 to 15 houses a week.
That's good. That's good money though.
Yeah, it's not bad. If anyone out there's, thinking like, hey, how can I make an extra buck during the weekday? I'm telling you, I'm thinking about doing like some sort of a course or ebook or I don't know, something.
Save it for the Patreon, you son of a bitch.
Just like something like how to break into it.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people would find a lot of benefit from that. Dustin, I think sadly we need to say goodbye though now. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Stephen, Dustin. How's it going? Keep up the good work with the podcast. I love listening to it. It's so funny. No one else is doing anything quite like you guys. I've made a cardinal sin, being the Capture One Pro rep for for the podcast. I've had to switch back to Lightroom. I can't believe I've done it. I hate parting with money, but I had to do it to open some XT3 RAW files rather than upgrade into Capture One. Just wanted to say keep up the good work, guys, and speak to you soon.
Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs. Woo-wee!